Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about politics. Today is going to be Vivek. I don't know whether you guys heard the news, but I love Vivek. Vivek has been one of the popular GOP candidates out there. He's very intelligent. He's very articulate. And I know people say he's unknown, up and coming, very young. I think he's like 39, 35. I think he's 35 or 36. I don't know. He's in his mid 30s. Yeah, so he's very young, people are saying, but this guy is very intelligent. He's very articulate. He's very quick with his response. He knows exactly what to say at any given moment. When and he goes everywhere. He goes on the left, on the right, like he goes everywhere. He goes everywhere. And when you watch his interviews, when the left try to trip him up with tricky questions or got you questions, he's very articulate, he's very intelligent, and he's very very quick with his response. I don't know if you guys know heard about what he said last weekend. I think it was last weekend when he called one of the progressives, Ayanna or something. Yeah, when he read out what this person said verbatim in uh, in her book, I mean, in his book, about how to solve past discrimination, is present discrimination, and how to solve present discrimination is future discrimination. Yeah, he called. Yeah, Vivek said something wild now, and that caught fire, and that went viral, and now people are trying to cancel him. And so he was on CNN, I think, on yesterday or today. Anyway, let's check this clip out. Yeah.
I want to ask you about a comment that you made about white supremacy in Iowa on Friday.
I've never once encountered that yet. I'm sure the boogeyman white supremacist exists somewhere in America. I've just never met him. Never seen one. Never met one in my life, right? Maybe I'll meet a unicorn sooner. And maybe those exist too.
So just because somebody hasn't encountered one doesn't mean that the notion of white supremacy doesn't exist as a threat in America. What do you think goes through the minds
as a threat
of the families of the three victims in yesterday's?
As a threat, yeah. Racism is a threat to you. Like the way these people say this stuff, like you're supposed to not come outside because racism is such a threat to you, to your livelihood. This is insane. This is really insane. I've never. Oh God.
Shooting when they hear you say that white supremacy is basically a fantasy?
I'm sure they're grieving for their loss, and I don't want to politicize those victims. Dana, this is a very sensitive situation where we should have nothing but foremost respect for those victims and not bring them into partisan politics. But I was responding to a question where someone asked me, what racism have I experienced in recent years? And I answered honestly, most of that racism has come from the modern left. It's happening during the course of this campaign. Kara Swisher calling me Ramaswamy the other day and reveling in making twists of my last name. People effectively reducing me to the color of my skin and my attributes. That comes today from the modern left. But the reality is,
do you
this is
acknowledge,
part of
though,
a
that white
dogma in this country.
supremacy does still exist in the United States?
I acknowledge that all forms of racial animus exist in the United States, including fringe branches. I mean, that's clearly what was at the head of this mentally deranged individual responsible for this shooting, yes. But I think there are many forms of mental derangement that cause us to see one another on the basis of our skin color and our attributes. And I think what we need to revive, Dana, and it's my job as the leader, hopefully as the next president, to do this, to revive our doctrine of e pluribus unum, not just celebrating our diversity and our skin deep attributes, but celebrating what unites us across that diversity. That's what we've forgotten in the United States of America. Our true strength is the set of ideals that unite us. That's my.
You see her face? This chick is like, damn. Every time I try to corner this dude, he whistles out. And he is giving like really great response. Like he is saying something that everyone with some brain cells have been saying. You can't boil down everything to racism. Everything is either black or white. If you're not saying what the left wants you to say is racism, and if you're saying what, if you're not saying anything that is progressive, that is quote unquote progressive, you're a racist of some kind. Like, he's really giving great. Like, I'm really impressed by his response. I've never heard any GOP talk like this. Like, I gotta be honest. Trump would say something like dumb because they always try to trip Trump up, and he sometimes fall for it. This guy, he's not falling for their tricks. He's giving great responses. Like, I'm really impressed by this dude. I don't know about you, but I'm really impressed by this dude.
My job to revive as our next president. And I think that the next generation in particular is so starved for that, starved for commonality, starved for a nation that is unified, bigger than the sum of its parts. That's what we need to recreate in this country. And to those who say the remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination, I say no. The right remedy is actually abandoning all discrimination and moving forward with colorblind meritocracy in the United States of America.
You took it to another level on Friday. In addition to the comment we played, you took issue with comments from Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. She reportedly said, quote, "We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice." About that, you said, "These are the words of the modern grand wizards of the modern KKK." You know, I'm sure the KKK was responsible for more than a century's worth of horrific lynchings, rapes, murders of Black people. How in any way are the views you're talking about comparable to the views and atrocities committed by the KKK?
What I said is the grand wizards of the KKK would be proud of what they would hear her say, because there's nothing more racist than saying that your skin color predicts something about the content of your viewpoints.
You didn't just say they would be proud. You said these are the words of the modern grand wizards of the modern KKK.
It is the same spirit. You're right about that, Dana. I think it is the same spirit to say that I can look at you and based on just your skin color, that I know something about the content of your character, that I know something about the content of the viewpoints you're allowed to express. For Ayanna Pressley to tell me that because of my skin color, I can't express my views, that is wrong. It is divisive. It is driving hate in this country. This is dividing our country to a breaking point.
That is a debate that is based on nonviolent discussion. That you just said you're using rhetoric, which she said she's using rhetoric. That's one thing. And another thing is to say that she represents, and she is a modern version of a KKK, which, as you know, was dedicated to the subjugation and violence against Black people. How on earth is she?
Because she's using the same rhetoric. She's using the same rhetoric. And I think that this lady and all these left progressive people, they know it. They know what he's saying. They know what he's saying. This Ayanna person is using the same rhetoric. What the hell are you talking about? Discrimination, past discrimination. The way to solve past discrimination is for present discrimination and then for future discrimination. It's the same rhetoric. What the hell is she talking about?
Is she a modern grand wizard
let's be intellectually
of that
honest.
kind of organization?
Let's be intellectually honest and get to the heart of what this debate ought to be about. There is a worldview that says that the remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination, that if you're Black or brown, you have to have a particular point of view. That's from Ibram Kendi. That's from Ayanna Pressley, the people I quoted in my speech yesterday.
But can you have an intellectually honest conversation
of who you are,
when you accuse her of being a grand wizard of the KKK? Can you have that intellectually honest discussion with that kind of rhetoric?
Yes, I can, Dana, because the point I'm highlighting is that even the people who, in good spirit, we all agree that the KKK was an awful organization that is a toxic stain in our national history. So given that we can start from that point of agreement, now that allows us to say, well, who actually sounds more like that organization today? The people who are calling for more racial discrimination on the basis of skin color. So yes, I think that is an intellectually useful starting point for a provocative discussion that we need to have in this country.
The whole point is the KKK wasn't just about rhetoric.
We have to speak openly.
They lynched people, they murdered people, they raped people, they burned their homes.
And that was wrong.
Simply because So
Wrong.
okay, so again,
that is obviously a
if
wrong
you
thing
want to
for
have
them
an
to have done.
intellectual
Absolutely.
discussion, do you think that maybe comparing her to the Grand Wizard and the notion of what she said to being a modern leader of the KKK was maybe a step too far, or you stand by what you said?
I stand by what I said to provoke an open and honest discussion in this country. Because there is a gap, Dana, between what people will say in private today and what they will say in public. I think we need to close that gap. I think we need to have real, open, honest, raw conversation as Americans. That is our path to national unity. And there are many Americans today who are deeply frustrated by the new culture of anti-racism that's really racism in new clothing. And we need to have that debate in the open.
All right, so you've seen that, you've heard that. This is quite interesting. I love the discussion. I love the way that he wasn't backing down. I know they were going to try to trip him up, try to make him say something foolish or dumb, or try to make him retract what he said. But I mean, I agree with him. Like, I got to be honest, like, I've been in this country for over a decade. And of course, I'm around black people. And black people, most likely would vote Democrat. And even at my workplace, everywhere, I'm around black people. The level of the most racist thing I've ever, when you come here, they're gonna bombard you with America's racist, white people are this, white people are that, the police, all of that. Like they will let you know. The most racist thing I've ever heard in my entire life, the most vile things I've ever heard in my entire life came from the black people around me. They said about whites, about Latinos, about Asians. But they'll be the first to cry racism when things are not going their way. They'll be the first to cry racism when they apply for a job and don't get it because they didn't qualify. When they go to a bank and their credit score is 350 or 400 and they don't get the money or the loan that they want to get or the house that they're trying to get, they cry racism. They'll be the first to do that. They'll be the first to tell you that it's racist because they can vote because they don't have a freaking ID card. You don't have an ID, not a driver's license, no, just an ID card. You don't know how to get an ID card, and so you can't vote, and they will scream racism. But they will say the most vile, the most racist stuff to any other race. It's incredible. And here you are. When you say stuff like that, the only way to solve the past discrimination is to discriminate more. And even they're doing it. They're even doing it today. They're discriminating. And the only way to solve this present discrimination is for future discrimination. And they wonder why the country is always divided. It's more divided than ever before. It's more, even during the Bush era, it wasn't this divided. During the Clinton era, it wasn't this divided. But it's like with every passing day, the country is going like this. And they will be the first to scream racism and discrimination. Anyway, that's all I got today. If y'all like the video, please hit that like button, hit the share button, leave your comments down below. I would love to read them. And if you may, please subscribe. You have a good night.